To be sure, the truth is out there, and we are not alone, but maybe not the way Scully and Mulder told us growing up. Now, there has been an increase in the claims of visitation and seeing aliens, as well as seeing UAPs or UFOs in the sky. Now, this also comes on the heels of our Pentagon telling other lawmakers that, in fact, that they do investigate unidentified aerial phenomenon, otherwise known as UFOs, and have been doing so for some time. That probably shouldn't come as a surprise to you, but of course, it has not stopped the sky watching community from suggesting that, of course, we all know what this is. ET has come to visit us again. Get your bicycles ready. It's time to take off. So, according to sworn testimony from high-ranking intelligence officials, the U.S. has received multiple craft of non-human origin. Just recently, a high-ranking official named David Grush went on News Nation to inform the public about the top secret information that he has. Here's a clip of him doing that.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grush sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
Now, if you saw the interview in its entirety, you will know this much about David Grush. Sure, he was a high-ranking official, but he also is operating simply on hearsay, and whatever materials he has not released. So this whistleblower has no problem blowing the whistle, but he just doesn't have an actual flag to throw in the air to actually tell us what was going on. So I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek, at least to just say this. A whistleblower should have some evidence other than just his testimony, but not David Grush. With David Grush, what we get is the assertion that, of course, there have been UFOs who have wrecked on the Earth. But we don't just get that Earth has seen visitation from these UAPs or UFOs, but actually that we have some of the pilots of these UFOs. Here's the interview continuing on to tell us that.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
For those in the skeptic community, you're probably used to hearing those sky gazers out there say things like this to you. Why would David Grush do this? Why would he ruin his career and come out and talk about this if it weren't so? As far as I can tell, since all we're doing is trusting on hearsay of a quote-unquote whistleblower, that's about the best that we have, is trying to figure out how to make a common sense argument for what David is actually telling us. So why would he do this? I don't know. And Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire seems to not be able to put these two things together, as you'll see in this clip of Ben Shapiro speaking to Matt Walsh about the visitation of aliens. Here it is.
What would be his incentive to make this up? He's setting his own career on fire. He's not setting the world ablaze, but he is setting his career ablaze and his life potentially. Why would he do that if it's entirely made up? But the other thing, Ben, you have to remember is that this is not one story.
Because you know his name now and you'd never heard of him before?
Okay, what good does that do? I was like, so he'll write one book, maybe. I'm not even sure if it'd be a bestseller, and then that's
Matt,
it.
wait, hold up. You're saying people don't do things to be famous and to get on TV and to like be and to be notorious? I feel like this runs counter to much of your view of the world.
People do things.
Your cynicism seems to have disappeared here, Matt, and I'm disturbed.
So somehow Matt Walsh has convinced his followers that he actually believes that aliens exist and that our life is incredibly boring if they don't exist, and that they must exist because look at all the information and the evidence that we have of their existence. In the meantime, he cannot see the forest for the trees because he cannot see why there might be somebody who would lie about seeing aliens. Perhaps it could come from the fact that nobody knew who David Grush was until he started coming out and talking about aliens, and that whatever career he had before is going to be nothing compared to the book deal and the news interviews that he will be offered now that he is an alien expert. Now, forgive me, I think Matt Walsh is a pretty intelligent man, so I think he knows this very, very well. And he's kept this troll going on in an admirable way that I think deserves all the appreciation in the world, while not stooping to the place of actually throwing out all of your mental capacity and the thinking process that would be necessary to actually believe that David Grush is telling us the truth. So why would David Grush lie about aliens? Why would he ruin his career? Because the career that he has in store for him is way better if he can actually get some traction with this false story. Case in point, just last week, around the same time as David Grush's story came out, conveniently, a clip of a young boy who claimed to see a 8-foot-tall alien creature in his backyard came out, and the Las Vegas local news station was there to exclusively report on this young man who saw aliens. So here's that.
I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now, and tonight our David Charnes with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise, sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard.
Now I know the fear that was dripping off that phone call, the Academy Award-winning performance that you just saw was not an actor, but a real-life young boy that was terrified out of his mind. That's what you heard right there on that phone conversation. Or maybe a boy that didn't really even do that great of a job trying to sell us on the fact that he saw an 8-foot alien in his backyard. Now, again, why would anyone do these kind of things? Well, this young boy has a YouTube channel. And his YouTube channel has a total of 1 video on it. This young man has 8,000 subscribers and close to 500,000 views on this one video describing the harrowing events. On this video, which I will save you the brain cells of showing you, he claims at the very beginning, now I know you think that I'm not telling the truth, but I promise you I am. Whenever you have to, put that disclaimer forth on a video, typically you should have a high level of skepticism when you see it. Needless to say, the fact that this boy has 1 video and has more subscribers than me and has more views than any of the videos that I've made, which total now over about 600, is completely unconscionable. Now, I am not complaining about the 50% of you who watch my show and then don't subscribe. I am not complaining about the hours of research and effort that I put into the show every single week. And I'm not complaining about the fact that this little boy, all he had to do was tell 1 lie and get more views and more subscribers than me. I am not complaining about that because I am not bitter whatsoever. I'm just merely trying to frame this for you so that you understand. The reason these people are saying these things is that you actually get attention for doing it. And it is the kind of attention that people so often in our culture crave today. Not only is it fame, but it's just the fact that someone notices you. Forgive me for going back to the subject and kind of the theme of today's show, but I can't help but see the death of God in the midst of this. While Matt Walsh is a true believer, and I believe trying to play a huge troll on each and every one of us, he suggests that the existence of aliens makes life more interesting. I rather think the existence of God is all the intrigue we need alone. And in fact, if we would actually focus our attention off of the stars and deeply within the soul that's inside of each and every one of us, we might find that God is a much more interesting read than anything else out there in the universe. because in fact he is the one that created it. So if you are mystified by the universe, maybe the answer is a little bit closer to home in a little book called the Bible, just simple, friendly suggestion. But I think ultimately the point here at the end of the day is that people are desperate to be noticed. People are desperate for attention, and they are desperate to believe they are not alone. Well, point of fact, you're not, because God exists and he loves each and every one of you. And that is infinitely more interesting than these fake stories.
So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely want to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.